This video is brought to you by my patrons, my thoughts and opinions, the Disney Channel, and two people trying to rebrand bigotry as acceptance. Hi, and welcome to, or back to, my channel where I talk about whatever catches my attention. I'm Kit, and in August 2025, Amala Ekpunobi and Brett Cooper truly blessed us with these videos. From Amala, Snoop Dogg calls out Disney. The internet says he's homophobic. And from Brett, even Snoop Dogg is turning on LGBT Disney movies with the thumbnails, respectively, "I'm scared of the movies," and "I didn't come here for this shit." Let's all take a moment to appreciate that the inclusion of one same-sex couple makes a movie LGBT. So, TLDR, American rapper Snoop Dogg took his grandson to see Disney's Lightyear, and, well, kids say the darndest things.
I took my grandson to see, what was the movie with, Buzz Light?
Toy Story?
Not that one, but
the new Buzz. The Lightyear. I think it's called Lightyear.
Yeah, with Kiki Palmer's in that movie.
Okay.
She plays like the daughter. So we watching it, and the lady, which is Kiki's mama, they move on into the space years, they move down the line, they're like, man, she had a baby with a woman. Well, my grandson in the middle of the movie like, Papa Snoop, how she have a baby with a woman? She a woman. Oh, shit. I didn't come in for this shit. I just came to watch the goddamn movie. Hey, man, watch the movie. So it's like, it's me. I'm scared to go to the movies now. Like, y'all throwing me in the middle of shit that I don't have an answer for.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't that part of being around kids? They ask questions about everything? I can understand not being prepared to answer in the moment, but how is that the film's fault? I find his reaction odd, but honestly, the whole thing is telling. For all the talk about how the gay agenda is winning, there's too much representation, too much acceptance, one lesbian couple broke this adult man's brain when his grandson questioned him. But, well, apparently, Snoop and his grandson were just saying what we were all thinking.
I mean, he literally is saying what we all are thinking. His grandson is saying what we're all thinking. Like, first of all, how does this even make sense? Why is this here?
I'm sorry. Is Brett actually saying it makes no sense that two women could have a kid? She's a grown adult about to have a baby of her own, and she doesn't understand IVF, surrogacy, adoption, that one of the women could have been married or with a man previously. You don't have to explain all of that to a kid, but Brett is an adult. Anyway, that's her reaction. He's just saying what we're all thinking. And here is Amala's.
Now, the media is spinning this and now publishing a bunch of articles saying that Snoop Dogg is scared to go to the movies because of gay couples featured in films, which is not exactly what he's saying. He's saying if I'm taking my grandson and taking a young child to the movie theater and I'm going to be confronted with an issue like this, I'm going to be a little scared, I'm going to be a little unprepared to have these conversations about what's going on screen, the logistics of it, maybe the politics behind it. And I didn't think I was going to be put in that position going to watch Lightyear.
Thank goodness we have Amala to explain what Snoop really meant. Anyway, I'm no Snoop fan or expert or anything like that, and taken on its own, I don't think he meant any harm with his comments, but that it was memorable enough to talk about on a podcast, that his reaction was, I don't want to explain this, that conservatives are jumping on his comments to further their, see, there's too much gay these days, it is making me side-eye this whole thing. And at that, let's talk about how Amala and Brett are using this to further their own agendas. Per Amala, Disney is too LGBT these days, and that's bad.
And when you go to see a Disney Pixar film, you're not exactly expecting that you're going to be confronted with something like this. But I'm here to tell you, you should expect exactly that. And I'm not necessarily upset about Lightyear's featuring of this particular couple or the way they went about it. It's a much larger issue. And that is an agenda that Disney has surrounding these topics and surrounding the politics behind these topics. It's very clear now that Disney is operating within a woke framework, and they very much have an agenda when it comes to what they feature and represent in their films.
It's so interesting how, if a character deviates from the norm, it's part of an agenda. Yes, an agenda of inclusion, of ensuring more stories get told than just those we've come to expect. Amala does acknowledge that Snoop's grandson will probably seek gay couples out in real life, so Snoop should have a way of explaining things to him, but apparently if movies feature anything but straight cis people, they should come with warnings. Because if a man and woman kiss or have a kid, that's okay, but if two men or two women do, you should be warned in advance. And we're supposed to believe that's not bigotry. Anyway, Amala's proof of this agenda is an internal company meeting about Reimagine Tomorrow.
It's like, I love Disney's content. I grew up watching, all of the classics. They have been a huge like informative part of my life. But at the same time, like I worked at small studios most of my career, and I'd heard, you hear whispers. Like I'd heard things like, oh, they won't let you show this at a Disney show. And I'm like, okay. So I was a little like sus when I started. But then my experience was bafflingly the opposite of what I had heard on my little pocket of like, proud family Disney TVA. The showrunners were super welcoming. Meredith Roberts and like our leadership over there has been so welcoming to like my like not at all secret gay agenda. And so like I feel like I felt like it was, I mean, like maybe it was that way in the past, but I guess like something must have happened in the last like they're turning it around, they're going hard. And then all that like momentum that I felt, like that sense of I don't have to be afraid to like, let's have these two characters kiss. Let's in the background. Like I was just wherever I could, just basically adding queerness to like if you see anything queer in the show, I'm proud of them. But like I just was like, no one would stop me, and no one was trying to stop.
What I heard was someone who had been told Disney was maybe more uptight about queer representation, but when they got there, they found that Disney was actually okay with it. This is what Amala heard.
So there you go. Wherever I could add queerness, I was adding queerness. I have a not so secret gay agenda. And guess what, guys? That is not the only clip. I'm going to show you another one.
I'm here as a mother of two queer children, actually. One transgender child.
What are the odds? What are the odds, people?
And one pansexual child, and also as a leader. And that was the thing that really got me, because I have heard so much from so many of my colleagues over the course of the last couple of weeks, in open forums and through emails and phone conversations. And I feel a responsibility to speak, not just for myself, but for them, to all of us.
What I heard was someone who heard from many other people, and as a parent and as a leader felt an obligation to speak up for marginalized voices. This is what Amala heard.
So there you go. That is the mindset at Disney, and that is literally what is happening behind the scenes. So when Snoop Dogg says something like they're putting it everywhere, he is not incorrect. And I don't think it's homophobic to call out the fact that there is a very clear, distinct agenda taking place at this particular corporation.
My question is, what is the fear? What is so wrong with including queer characters? What does Amala and co think will happen if kids see this representation on screen? Do they think there is something inherently wrong, dirty, unnatural about being gay? Do they think if kids see a happy gay couple on screen, they'll think it's okay, and thus, should they come to realize they're gay at some point, it will be entertainment's fault that they don't try to bury those feelings in shame and try to be straight instead? The majority of entertainment, from movies to TV to books, is filled with straight couples only, and no one accuses those writers, directors, producers of promoting a straight agenda. People just think it's, all right, normal. Therefore, it's okay. And anything different is not normal, and therefore something to be paranoid and fearmonger about, while also collecting a paycheck, incidentally. Anyway, Amala whinges some more about how queer Disney is becoming, and
we can judge Snoop Dogg, I guess, on what he said and say that he should be prepared to have these conversations with his grandchild or call him homophobic for what he's saying, but he's touching on something that is extremely real, that is actually happening. And if he's recognizing that and choosing to blow the whistle on it and talk about it, I don't see anything wrong with that whatsoever. I think the people who are going to be sensitive to this exchange and to what he said are people who are already okay with this wokeification of Hollywood and our entertainment and media. And maybe we should rethink that.
1, why? And 2, what are they going to do? Mandate I don't even know, for every 20 straight characters, one can be gay? I mean, let's be honest. They don't want anyone not straight or cis portrayed on screen, but folks like Amala and Brett can't say that because their thing is supposed to be that they're reasonable. They're not like those Christian nationalists, when in reality, that is exactly who they're opening the door for. And if you're wondering how, I would say it's unlikely that Brett and Amala themselves are Christian nationalists, but I would also say it's likely that they think they would be unaffected should the US become a theocracy, and by making this content, they're telling their viewers that it's okay to think gay couples should be kept a secret. They try to hide it with, no, some representation is okay, but this is just too much. And this is one couple. And honestly, it doesn't matter. If a movie is gay couples only, what's the issue? But the point of making it a big deal is to further their narrative that even a single gay character or couple is wrong, weird, bad, a nefarious agenda to convert the children. And on that note.
Now, does this mean that we should go through all kids' entertainment and scrub all same-sex representation? Not necessarily. I'm open to the representation being done well, because kids obviously are going to witness this in real life, and thus it's okay to maybe see it in entertainment every now and then, but oh my goodness, are they trying to shove the agenda down your throat? And oftentimes, they're doing it the wrong way.
Maybe this has a name, I don't know, I'm not an expert, I'm just an average woman watching a video, but it is so obvious to me what she's doing. Amala says she doesn't necessarily think same-sex representation should be scrubbed from kids' entertainment, which isn't the same thing as saying it shouldn't be removed. She's open to representation if it's done well and only every now and then. And why? There's a lot of movies with only straight people that are bad. I don't remember any gay couples in Because I Said So, but that movie was so bad I couldn't even make it halfway through. But that's okay, because straight people are allowed to be in all movies, even ones that aren't done well. Because why? Seeing gay people will teach kids to be gay? That's not how it works. If it was, no one would ever have been gay to begin with. Anyway, I'm tired of Amala's pseudo-intellectualism. Let's see what Brett has to say.
In light of this, people literally started petitioning to have him removed from performing at the Australian Football League finals next month. That is his next big performance that he is doing. Official calls to remove Snoop Dogg as event headliner following bizarre homophobic rant. And guys, an Australian senator even took to the floor in the House of Parliament to talk about this, to talk about how Snoop Dogg should be removed.
Snoop Dogg gets $2 million to play his misogynistic, homophobic music on our turf. We need investment in Australian and Aussie talent. We need investment in our music industry. And we need to say that if it's an Aussie game, it's an Aussie artist playing. I urge the AFL, have the guts to rethink this decision.
Well, I hate to break it to you, ma'am, but I think that the AFL will have the guts to actually do something a lot cooler in 2025, and that would be not canceling him, because soon after you made that little announcement on the Parliament floor, the CEO of the AFL came out backing Snoop and said, yeah, we hired him for a reason. We don't care. We know about his past. We know about the things that he said. We don't care. He's going to put on a great family-friendly performance. We don't care. See him next month. Enjoy yourself. End of discussion.
Is Snoop's music family-friendly? But anyway, I would have thought Brett Cooper, of all people, would have been able to appreciate an Australian wanting to pay an Australian to perform at an Australian event. But the AFL's refusal is apparently a massive win for culture, and I fear that Brett's thought processes might not be too deep. Of course, shortly after this, she goes into an advertisement for a gun suppressor, and it's at the end of this same video that she talks about the school shooting in Minneapolis. This strikes me as incredibly careless, but well, Brett's video is about how Disney acquired two of the most important franchises to young men and then proceeded to spit in their faces. And I have to ask, is Toy Story that important to anyone, but especially young men? Anyway, apparently Disney is pressing creatives in Hollywood to bring them projects that would reach young men, and
one writer and showrunner who had a show, greenlit and produced by Disney, responded to that Variety tweet, and he said, won't someone please think of the Gen Z males? Buddy, look in the mirror. It is your girl power-led, gay, disabled Disney Plus TV show that got Disney into this predicament in the first place, and I am not exaggerating about that description in the slightest.
Setting aside that Brett is blaming this man for young men not wanting to watch Disney products anymore because of one TV series, which aired on Disney Channel, and how many people age 18 to 28 watch Disney Channel in general for 3 seasons and ended 3 years ago, are these young men so fragile that hearing about a film or series that features characters different from them just immediately turns off any desire to watch it? Oh, there's a blind character in this. I'm not blind, so... Oh, there's a gay character in this. I'm not gay, so if you don't want to watch something, that's fine. There's plenty of things I haven't seen because I wasn't interested. But if you purposely avoid things because you can't see an element of yourself in them, that seems weird to me. But anyway, Brett is accidentally hilarious.
This is in a children's show. Like, I guarantee that show was not reaching the Gen Z males.
You don't say. Although men did seem to enjoy My Little Pony, so you never know. But anyway, Brett says Matt should think about guys who have been alienated by shows like his, and also that she guarantees they're not watching that because they're out working hard. Granted, this was a segue into an ad for Boots, but what? I mean, yeah, most kids' shows don't appeal to young adults, so... But it also strikes me that she's making a big deal out of one show. One show includes a wide variety of characters, and that is alienating Gen Z? If this was about anything else, Brett would be laughing and calling them snowflakes, but since conservatives disdain anything involving inclusivity, it's fine. moving along, well, not really.
This is the test that Disney projects have allegedly had to pass in order to get greenlit.
I love how she says allegedly here and not even a minute later.
So literally, they have inclusion standards from the characters on screen to the people marketing the films to the people working on sets on all of these projects. That is how deep this goes.
Is it real or not? I have no idea. And I don't really care. Brett treats this like some nefarious thing. That's how deep this goes. But there's actually nothing wrong with inclusion. In fact, I would say it's actually a good thing to be inclusive, and unfortunately, it doesn't tend to come naturally, which is why initiatives and such exist. Getting viewpoints from diverse groups of people is a good thing. Being exposed to people not like you is important. It is not something that needs to be shamed. The problem is when people think they can just do a gender or race swap or do a few tweaks to a script and people will be happy. No matter how inclusive you are, writing, acting, directing still needs to be good. The plot still has to be interesting and, make sense. And when people do that sort of thing and try to pretend they're being inclusive, no, they're just trying to make money the easiest and cheapest way possible. It has nothing to do with DEI. Anyway, for anyone wondering, the two franchises Disney destroyed for men is Marvel and Star Wars. So, final thoughts. I wanted to comment on this because it's so obvious what they're doing and it disgusts me. This is who people use when they say, not all conservatives believe same-sex marriage shouldn't be legal because they try to present themselves as accepting, within reason. But being straight isn't better than being gay, except for the shit society throws at people for it. And it's so bad faith, it's so disingenuous when they try to pretend that, oh, a same-sex couple is in a movie, everything is fine now. When, in reality, a record-breaking 604 anti-LGBTQ+ bills have been proposed in 2025. And what's really sad is that 2024 was also a record-breaking year for anti-LGBTQ+ legislation. And so was 2023, and anti-LGBTQ hate crimes are rising. And it's not because there's a gay character in a cartoon. It's because of content like this, which masquerades as, I'm okay with gay people as long as I don't want to be treated like normal people. And it just gives color to other bigots. Good job to Amala and Brett doing their part to make society worse. And that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.